Welcome back, you guys. Yeah, this is a little late. Like Christmas, no, it's already halfway through January, which is basically June. What are you even doing? Listen, I had this whole video edited for you guys. Then I did the voiceover for you, and something crashed and I lost the voiceover portion. I was like, oh no, now I'm going to have to do my voiceover again. And while trying to fix that, the entire system crashed and I lost all of it. So this is my second attempt, second full re editing of this video, second voiceover. All of it's stupid. Blah, I hate it. But this footage that you're seeing, I filmed January 1st. I was like, okay, new year, new me. Let's get Christmas down. We can start the year fresh and filled with energy and joy and all this crap. And for some reason, I thought I'd get all of this taken care of in one day, even though it took 2 full days for me to put up all of this stuff. It doesn't. And not only that, but I don't even do the days back to back. I stop here and then I don't do anything again until the 9th. I struggled. I had a little bit of a stomach flu, but that wasn't really what it was. I just was having such a hard time. I couldn't get out of my couch. It's not my nest. I'll show you why. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get motivated. I just had the sads. I was so sad. And my poor husband, like he was giving me cuddles and he was trying to cheer me up in any way he could. And I couldn't. I had zero at all. And so that was fun. But then the second part of that is that I didn't even have a husband. He had to leave for a work trip for a full week. And so I just didn't really do any of it. I just sat there and was sad. And I hated that. Now, not lost on me is on this day, maybe I'll ease into the conversation of the fact that I'm ovulating and that's why I got up and started doing stuff. Yeah, let's ease into the conversation. So, one of my goals for the year is to support my hormones. I am going through perimenopause. Hi, if you're new, let's talk about what's happening in my uterus. New year, new uterine lining, new me. I am 43 years old. I'm going to be 44 in March, and I am just going through it with perimenopause. It is rough. I am being hit so hard. I have none of the hormones and I want all of the hormones. I am on HRT, but it's really only pulling my levels up to still terrible, like just out of catastrophic into terrible. And I want more. Like Ariel, I want more. I want to be where the people are. No, I don't. Ariel, you idiot. No one wants to be where the people are. Actually, what you want to be in your cave of wonders. You just want to look at all your treasures. And you know what? Maybe she wasn't a hoarder. Maybe she just liked her things and it's fine. And people are like, Ariel, maybe you should be a minimalist. And she doesn't want to. Okay. She likes her things. She wants to collect them. They remind her of her memories and it's okay. She just needs better organizational skills. That's all it is. Like maybe Ariel just needs to perhaps get her ADHD diagnosed and an organizational system that she can stick with for longer than 3 days. But don't worry, it's the new year. She has a new planner. It's going to change everything about her, even though it's already January 11th and she hasn't filled out one thing in her new planner. And then she had these other plans that maybe she was going to do, but she didn't do any of it. She's barely even drinking water, but she is getting 10,000 steps in most days. And so, can we applaud the things that Ariel does? Like, give her a little bit of credit, okay? So, that had nothing to do with me. That was all about Ariel, obviously. So, I am doing HRT, but I'm also trying to support my hormones through food and like exercise. So, I am following Fast Like a Girl. It is a book written by Mindy Peltz, Dr. Mindy Peltz. Let's be formal about it. Doctor. And the good doctor says that during certain parts of your cycle, you should eat certain ways. So for the first part of your cycle, you should eat more ketogenic. I said I was going to do that and I didn't. I ate my feelings and I felt terrible, like physically felt terrible, but also emotionally. So that didn't help. But then once you get into your ovulation cycle, you get a big energy surge usually, and then you get to have a little bit more carbs. And she tells you which vegetables, which fruits, like what you should introduce that really helps support. So, initially, you're supporting progesterone. Progesterone doesn't love carbs, doesn't need it, loves to be a little bit more keto, and like likes hummus apparently. But now we are trying to support with a little bit more carbs because progesterone is like a very emotional little witch of a hormone. And if you don't support her with enough carbs, she gets fussy and leaves, which honestly, same. And so right now it's a little bit more carb supported, and then there's a slightly more keto section, and then it's more carb supportive. Hormone feasting is what she calls it until the end of your cycle. So I am in my ovulation stage, like first day, and I get up and I start doing things. And I find that really fascinating because a long time ago, I used to be a doula, which is a labor support person, not medical, just hanging out with mom, being like, "You're doing great. Keep pushing." It's more than that, but I love doing it. And there was a side program that I got in on the ground floor and I loved it. And then after 2 years of me doing this program, which I will not name, they were like, "You know what's better? Money." And so they kind of got a little money hungry, and it felt MLM-y. And when they announced the switch where they're like, "We're going to run you like a subscription service. Like you have to pay nonstop for every section of this," whereas we paid one flat fee to license the name, and they would limit how many people could be in our area so I could pitch myself as that. They're like, "No, anybody can do it. You have to pay nonstop for all of the programs." Like, it would be so much money, and they're like, "And also, we won't block anyone. We want all the money." And it got really gross. And after they announced it, they gave a talk because we were at a convention. They gave a talk where they were like, "If you're mad, that's on you. You feel mad, but it's a choice you made." And I was like, "Do you know who else says that? Like abusers." That sounds like a very abusive statement. Like, "I'm sorry you feel mad, but that's your fault for being upset about something I did." And so I dipped out. One of the educational things that they talked about in that were matching your energy with your cycle. And it just is true. You have kind of a nesty, planny phase, and then you have high energy bursts in there. And that's just how our bodies are designed to work. Um, and so, okay, I found that interesting. So maybe in my YouTube now, for my huge, big whole house cleans, I will actually try to match them with a cycle that I naturally have more motivation and energy. Because getting up off of the couch when I have zero motivation or energy was literally impossible for 8 solid days. And I hate that. And then your brain starts screaming at you that you're not doing it right. You're pathetic. Like, why can't you? How bad of a person are you that you can't get up? And I don't enjoy that for myself. And I wouldn't allow anybody to treat my best friends like that. But yeah, I'm treating myself that way. No, thank you. So these are the things I'm thinking about. And yeah, maybe that'll work. So I'm hoping to match big videos, big energy whole house cleans with big energy days. And then, a little bit smaller nesting, deorganizing, not deorgan. That was a Freudian slip and felt very accurate. My deorganizing days are going to be on my lower energy, valid. But I could also maybe do slight organization in smaller areas. Probably not. My brain lied. My brain told the truth while I was actively lying to you. That's fun for us. Okay. So, the plan for this day in my brain was that I was going to start taking down all of the hanging decor, which took all day to put up a month prior. And I was like, no, it'll be easy to take them down. It'll take no time at all. And so I went to go into the entryway to do it. And then I realized as I was pulling out the decor, I wanted to set it in my living room, which was filled with laundry. So then I friggin' had to go take care of the laundry. I started a load of dishes. I started a load of laundry. I'm going to fold all of this except for the kids' clothes. They're going to fold their own clothes. And I'm just putting it in that hamper. And once I get this away, this is where I'm going to consolidate all of my uh, Christmas decor so that I can actually put it away. And that was the general plan. Another goal I have for myself this year that I've set, which is where it's more of a policy, a guideline. I have a general guideline is I can set goals, but now instead of having a very specific goal, I'm going to have a range. So for today, on this day, which I do not achieve, I have the high end, my ultimate goal of getting all of my Christmas decor put away, cleaning my whole house and resetting it with like it's more of a sparse situation. My low end of it is get everything off the ceilings and get all of my rugs up, my Christmas rugs up. That was, if I get that done on the day, I will feel satisfied and fulfilled. And then I will finish up everything the next day, ideally, but I don't. Um, and so that's what I hope to do on this portion of the day. I like the idea of having kind of a spectrum of a goal where I'm good at stopping at this point, but ideally we would get here. I really like that, even though it's not how goals are supposed to work. You're supposed to have a SMART goal where it's specific, measurable, timely, something with an A. I think accountable. I don't know, but it spells the word smart. That's ideally how you're supposed to set your goals, but like, okay, fine. But maybe I don't run my life as my business. I can run my YouTube as my business, but I don't want to run my life that way to where I don't have room for kids or cooking or distractions or, things like that. So in my personal life for things like this, I kind of just want to have that spread. What's another place that I was using that for? I've used it more than once and I'm like, I really enjoyed this part. No examples. Hate that for me. Love that for you. All right. So we are getting the rug up and now I'm going to take everything off of the ceiling. Now, I had a couple different ideas of how I was going to put this away. A lot of people, when I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing it because it's really tangled when I get it out of storage and it takes so long to thread all of the ornaments and everything like that. And people are like, well, here are different ways to put them up. And they're like, why don't you leave everything threaded? Just doesn't seem like it's going to work. I don't imagine that I can pull the ornaments, just the ornaments, the baubles, and put them in any sort of storage that doesn't create a massive rat's nest of fishing line. So here's what we're going to do. I decided on how I was going to do it. I'm going to cut the ornaments off all the way. So they won't be tethered to a line or anything like that after we're done. And I'm just putting them with all the other ornaments that I have. For the candles, I am clipping off the dot that sticks to the ceiling, but leaving the thread through the wick. I'm also removing the battery. Forgot the word battery. That's fun. For the snowflakes, same. I'm going to leave the string attached, but I'm cutting off the part that sticks to the ceiling. Now, in this portion, all of my videos sped up 350%, except for the time lapse and this part right here. This part, I just wanted to show you actually how long it takes me. You were watching me at 350%, and that's why I look like drunk slow in this, but I assure you, I am not drunk, but it is really slow because it takes so freaking long. I have to blast the sticky dot with the hair dryer. I got a butter knife to kind of just like gently work it off of the ceiling because if I do it too much, it will rip the plaster off the ceiling. I learned that last year over my kitchen island and it really bums me out. And then after I peel it off, sometimes there's a little bit of sticky left and I like rub it with my hand until it falls off the ceiling. So that's how long it takes me to do that. All in all, I do this in batches. It takes several hours. I think the entryway right here, it takes like an hour and a half, maybe an hour, but the time lapse is mucho faster. Love that for me. And I am trying to just keep everything generally organized so that next year I don't have to do as much work to thread it. And I think if I don't have super long nails, it won't take me nearly as long to tie the tiny knots. Last thing, I think I do want to get thinner line because you can really see the lines right here, the fishing line. I think if I get slightly thinner, it won't be as noticeable. At night when the candles are lit and all of like the Christmas glory is going, you don't see it, but you do see it during the day and it feels a little bit tacky. But maybe it's just tacky in general, but I really enjoyed it. It genuinely felt like the department store in Elf when he finally redecorates everything. Like, maybe this is Macy's. Is my house Macy's? Probably not because all of my clothes are from Target and Walmart, so I'm not a department store. I am at best a Target, and that's okay because I have good crap. I have fun stuff that you don't actually need, but for some reason I have it anyways. I am definitely Target. And minimal food, most of it seems to be snacks. Yes. All right. One last thing I was concerned about here is the strings. I was trying to be very conscious when I cut the strings off that no strings were like left behind where a cat could potentially eat it and get it to like thread through their intestines. I don't know why cat, not the dogs. It just didn't feel like something the dogs would do, but it did seem like something my cats would do. So I was really cautious to put all of these strings in a container, like to keep it contained, and then sweep around to make sure I get everything up. So that's what I'm doing. Because it's early on in the clean, I have an idea that I'm going to clean my whole house and like mop everything and do a really good reset, but we give up on mopping pretty quickly. You're welcome. So, and it does look so empty afterwards. Like, look at this. It's funny because here, clearly not Christmas anymore, right? Like, it just, the nativity scene and the two signs that I have over there, it's not really pulling your eye to where you're like, oh, she has some Christmas decorations up. It just looks so empty. And then once I move the camera, it happens the whole time. It's very funny to me. Once I move the camera, you're like, well, there's a butt ton of Christmas right there still. And it's funny, it just like de-Christmases and then slight pivot. Holy crap, a ton of Christmas again. Love that for us. Okay. But it's not that dusty. So I ran out of vacuum bags for my vacuum cleaner and I'm like, maybe I should mop. I mean, not mop, frick, sweep. And it turns out I absolutely hate sweeping now. I am so spoiled with vacuuming up because it's the little tufts of hair. I think it's sweet potatoes hair, and they just like scatter from me and I have to chase them down. I absolutely hate that. So I did order more vacuum bags for the vacuum floor thingy that I have here in the forefront. It's not my favorite. It was a gifted item for me to do a sponsorship. It's good. I just feel like corded vacuums have so much more suction power. I almost said powder. I don't know, but it's better than sweeping. So there we go. All right. Still really overwhelmed. I really am. But I'm just going to pull everything down. I decided, put it in the living room and just, I don't know, figure it out. I don't think I want this garland for my mantle next year. But I am trying to do a low buy this year because I'm new year, new meing the poop out of myself. No, I've never pooped. I am a lady. How dare you? Don't even try to come at me with I bet Beth has ever pooped because I haven't. I'm a lady. So wait, what was I saying before I went on a tangent about how much I don't poo? Wow, it's pretty gross. So yes, one of my goals this year was to pay down my disadvantageous RV loan. My dad says I'm not supposed to. Oh my God, my dogs are going crazy. My dad says I'm not really supposed to say predatory anymore. So my disadvantageous RV loan with a shocking interest rate of 10.125, I think, that accrues $27 and change of interest every single day. That loan, I wanted to get it paid down by half. And that was a goal that I was really excited to work towards. Now, I 100% I'm not a minimalist. I'm just not. It's not my personality. I like my things. I like having things. I do shop often, but I'm not spending outside of my means. I I am financially responsible, which is a bold ass choice to say right after admitting how terrible my RV loan was. But the thing is I just got so excited about the RV. It was so shiny and so great, and I couldn't wait to have it. And I have been dreaming about this kind of RV since I was a little girl. Now, I had a Class C RV that I traded it in for, but when you drive long distances, the chair in it is extremely uncomfortable, and I wanted a bougie Class A. That's just, I wanted the fancy Class A. Now, when I was a really little girl, one of my first memories is my dad and my mom divorced when I was quite young. I think kindergarten. I have maybe two or three memories of them when they were married, and it's them fighting, like two memories of them fighting, and one memory of them telling us that they were getting a divorce. And when I was little, I was like, that doesn't really matter. But now that it's one of the very few memories I have, I was like, oh, I guess it was super impactful. So, and it's best that they did, like, right? That's great for them. But my dad and I used to go tour RVs. Like, he and I would go to RV lots and we would go look at them. And he would be like, we could run away together and live in Disneyland. And he was not trying to kidnap me or anything like that. It was just a fun thing we did when I was a little girl. And I loved the idea of running away with my dad in an RV and living at Disneyland. That sounded amazing. And so, ever since I was a very young little girl, I have dreamt of having an RV. So then I got my Class C RV during COVID, which I loved. And I immediately drove from Oregon to Massachusetts to go look at Plymouth Rock because I really wanted to go there. I had never seen it before. This was something incredible that I wanted to do. And I drove that effort all over the place and it hurt my butt. And so then I was like, ooh, here's a Class A. We could trade in the Class C. And I was so excited about it. And we showed up at the dealership late because it took forever to drive to Southern Florida. And when we were presented with the paperwork, the price of the RV was easy for us to pay. It was so easy that it wasn't a big deal. Like, we don't have a car loan. We don't have student loans. This is like our big loan that we get to have. And it was an easy payment. But I didn't think, like, can I have an amortization schedule? Let me see what the interest looks like. Let me see how much I am paying annually in interest, like any of those things. I just saw the monthly ticket and I said, "Yes, let's do it." So it was a choice that I made. I willingly did it and then later looked back and thought, "Oh my god, that's the worst financial choice that people can make. Like, that's terrible." Um so we had it and it took me I think a year and a half of paying this RV loan before I actually ever looked. And then I was traumatized, and I have been trying so hard to pay it down since. So one of my goals this year was to pay it down by half. I was looking into different things, and I've been really into finances lately. And my dad came up with he was like, "Hey, I was talking about refinancing my home anyways, just for a slightly lower mortgage rate. I've been keeping my eye on the mortgage rates since we purchased the home, because our mortgage rate, the interest is 6.125, and not terrible, but not great, especially because we're used to crazy low. Like some people have like 2% interest. That's amazing. I wish. And so I was just checking and it looked like low fives. And I was like, oh, I wonder. And so I was talking to my dad about it. And he's like, well, you have equity in your house. An interest rate looks like you get in the low fives, which is half of what that RV one is. Why wouldn't you refinance, cash out refi, and just pay off that RV loan? And I think that's the choice we're going to make. Um, I think it's a really good decision and it's something we can completely absorb. Like the new mortgage payments plus what the old RV payment will be about what we change into if I choose a 15-year. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm really excited. Like, I fought so much with that bank because every time I tried to make a payment, they would misapply it to the way that they would get so much interest out of me. I think because of a banking error that they made, 4 payments in a row went only to interest, which is just crazy. And I would call them and we would get into big fights because they would explain to me what interest was. And I already knew. And it was just such a huge fight. It's so much stress. Every time that somebody else would take my call, they'd be like, you know what? We will call you back tomorrow. This is not fair to you. I'm going to take special interest in this case. And then they would never call me back. I had to file a consumer financial report against them, but they're in Tampa. They're like 7 hours away from me. So it's not like I could just go down to the bank, like flit on down there. And I was going to anyways to fight them. But instead, I think I'm going to go down, fight them, go to a local branch of my current bank, get a cashier's check, and then just pay that effort off and not have it be something that weighs on my heart and soul. I'm really excited about this plan. So it's only like a third away through the first month, and I've already accomplished my 2026 goals. So I don't really have to do anything else now. I think I've improved myself as much as humanly possible. And now I'm just going to phone it in until 2027 when I have to new year, new me again. And I love that for me. So, still on day one, look at me doing yet another round of dishes. I'm just trying to cycle through these so that they're going as I clean. I am not really washing the dishes before I put them in. I'm more rinsing and trying to scrape out the disgusting. Whereas previously I had been filling a sink full and washing them. Now, this is before I get really bummed out and sad. I assure you, I do other loads of dishes between the two videos that are mashed together in here. And I do fill the sink and I do hand wash every single piece and then put it in the dishwasher to run the dishwasher. Like I was not doing amazing. And it was kind of a bummer. And I hate that. I feel like I'm doing better. I do. I still have the sads a little bit, and I think I'm gonna have them for a little while. It happens, you guys. Sometimes there's conflict and you have to work hard. And as my therapist says, who's a lying liar who lies? And I feel like she's just withholding information from me because you guys remember, therapists are scams, just like dentists. Don't trust them. Like, yeah, no, I don't need a special tooth doctor. Shut up. My teeth are teething just fine. Thank you. They're like, oh, I think I see a cavity. You don't. You liar. You're showing me a blurry picture and you're like, see? And I don't see because that looks gross. And I don't want to look directly at a x-ray of anybody's mouth. Thank you. Stop trying to trick me. So, anyways, she was like, you can't control how other people react, only how you respond. And I think that's a lie. I would like you to work harder to give me the skill sets to control how other people respond. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think I should be able to force people to behave the way I think they should behave. As a true dictator, this is reasonable, right? I don't think it's unreasonable. So she's a liar, but I feel like if I nag her enough, she'll tell me the secrets. And then I will be able to fix this. And then I won't have to worry about my interpersonal relationships because they will always go the way I want them to. Okay, so on this rug, I don't know why I flip it on its belly to fold it. I think it's because whenever I drop off my rugs to the not dry cleaners, they're the wash and fold laundry place. Whenever I get them back, they're folded print side out. And so I was like, that has to be the standard. No one else can fold it any other way. And this was such an epic pain in the butt. And I only do it for this one, except for the runner and the entryway rugs. Those I fold like because I can pick them up and fold them with my arms. I decided because these were only sitting out for a few weeks and they really didn't get any traction on them except for the rug that comes in through our garage. I'm not going to take them to get them washed. I'm also nervous that I get my rugs washed too often. And the lady there, she was like, we actually lose money on this because they take so much money to dry that I feel like he's going to start saying they won't wash them anymore. So I'm trying to like space out how often I bring rugs so that I don't trick him into saying that he doesn't want to wash my rugs anymore because I don't want to go there and sit for them to be in the dryer for like 14 years because it will take so effing long. I will just probably throw away my rugs and buy new ones. Like a bonkers person, or I just won't have rugs. And you guys will be like, why don't you have rugs anymore, Beth? And I'll be like, because I don't want to go watch them get dried. That sounds awful. So I didn't take any of those to get washed. The runner washes in my personal washer dryer just fine. Um, because it's small enough that it's not going to burn out the motor. I have washed a larger rug before, and you could smell the hot metal of the dryer because it was just struggling for its life. And I was like, whoop, never again. And that is when I learned my local laundromat will do it. And I love that for me. Okay. So here you can see I'm still wildly thinking that I could get everything all done. And so I'm sweeping, making sure the strings aren't there. And somewhere in here I edited out, but both of the dogs go into the yard. And only one comes back, and my neighbor's dog is losing her ever-loving mind, and I hear her barking like crazy, which is not typical for her. She barks a little bit, but definitely not to the level she's going at it. And so I go into my yard. One of our boards in our shared fence is pushed out, and both of them, oh yeah, I definitely come back in because look at how excited they are to try to go back outside. Both of my dogs had gone into their yard and were just having the best time. And I went out and I was like, why didn't you text me? And they're like, we didn't know it was your dog. And I was like, whose dog would it be? Like, we both have fully fenced yards. That's crazy talk. Like, how would it have gotten into your yard? And Kesha came back through. No, they had to hand her over the fence. But Leroy was like, absolutely not. I live here now. This is the best yard I've ever been in. I have a girlfriend. She's right there. She doesn't like me very much, but I could win her over. And he just thought they have like a little, it's like a Schnauzer Maltese mix, and Leroy was like, "Yeah, she's cute. I love her." And so he wanted to live there forever, and we got him back, and Mark had to go repair the fence. But they were so delighted by that adventure that they were like, "No, no, no. We would like to go back outside. We need to see if we can go through that fence again." Ah, that was kind of fun. But it was a really easy. He needed to push the board back and nail it again. All right, so moving this giant green chair back. I've told this story before, but maybe you guys didn't watch that video. And if you didn't, what is wrong with you? How dare you? You're dead to me. Or maybe you're new and welcome. You're probably not dead to me yet, but give it time. I'm a I'm a mercurial leader. It's probably because my husband Lennon, he taught me his ways, and you know, moody. Dictators are moody. Leave us alone. Anyways, that green chair, I think I want to get rid of it, you guys. It just, every time I look at it, it reminds me how scared I was of the man who delivered it. So I ordered that big round chair, and it took 3 times for it to actually get to my house. The first time they stopped it mid-shipment and sent me a picture of it being just absolutely destroyed. The box was destroyed. You could see pieces of the couch hanging out. And they're like, clearly got ruined in transit. Do you want a new one?" And I was like, "Yes, I would like a new one." Like, "No, just send her on down. I love piles of sticks." So they sent the second one. And as they were bringing that one in, they're like, "We can hear that it's broken in here." And they kind of opened the box and it was obviously broken. So I was like, okay, third time's a charm. The third one comes. I have my Rottweiler Beauty, who has since passed away. I have her locked in my room and Kesha locked up. Leroy doesn't exist in this story. He was not born yet. And we only have hot sauce too. So we have like very few pets at this point, and everybody's locked up. And I have my front doors opened so that they can bring it all the way to the back, unbox it, and take the stuff with them. And the first man comes in and I show him, I'm like, "It's going to go right here." And he's like, "Okay." And so he leaves and I turn my back to the front door and I go walk towards the sliding glass door and I hear somebody behind me and I turn around, and this man who was also there to deliver was behind me, and I looked in his face and I have never been struck by such fear before. Every part of me knew he was dangerous. Like I knew my ancestors were screaming at me through my DNA, the mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell, was like, "You need to be careful. That guy is dangerous. You are not safe. Your kids aren't safe. None of this is okay." And so I went and stood by my bedroom door so I could open it because what is really good about having a Rottweiler is the fact that they will just kill somebody who's hurting you. And I love that. I need to get a couple more Rottweilers. All I want is like 5 new Rottweiler puppies. And I missed my opportunity. Mark left for a week. I could have gotten the puppies. Anyway, and so I asked them like the second they got it out of the box, I was like, you know what? I'll put it where it needs to go, pack everything up, get out. But politely, because like be polite to people who want to murder you. Um, and he never like swung at me. He didn't do any, he didn't like show me that he had a knife hidden and that he was going to stab me. Like none of that. It's just my intuition told me. And the thing is that women never listen to their intuition anymore. We're told that it's impolite, and I hate that. And so I got him out of the house, locked all the doors, called my husband, told him I was scared, and that was that. But I called my friend down the street and I was like, "Oh my god, something like I just got so scared." And I told her what happened, and she's like, "My friend also had something similar happen where she saw the guy, felt all those feelings, went to slam the door, and he kicked the door in, and like just it was so terrible and violent, and like her 2-year-old was pushed downstairs and stuff like that, and like she made it out to the street of her house. She managed to run to the street, and people called 911, and like she was hospitalized from that. And like I don't know, like that's so scary. And you just hear these stories. Like there's this one true crime that I think about a lot. And she was it was in Georgia, weirdly, and she was studying to be a lawyer, and so was her neighbor, and her neighbor was creepy weird. And I feel like his name was Stephen McDaniel or McDonald, but I might be lying. So sorry, Stephen McDonald or whatever. Probably not you. I'm talking about somebody else. If your name is that, don't sue me. Thanks. Please don't sue me. I have a disadvantageous RV loan that I'm still trying to get on top of. Thanks. Um, but everybody was like, that dude's a creep. And she's like, I know he's creepy, but I feel bad for him. And she finally, like, she started getting this feeling when she would go back to her home that somebody else had been there. Like, she just had this feeling. She would tell her family and friends, like, I feel like somebody is in my home when I'm not home. And it turns out he stole the master key, and he was going into her home when she wasn't home, and he was touching her things. Yuck. And all of this stuff. And so the day before she moves out, she tells him, she's like, yeah, I'm moving out. We're packing up and stuff like that. And that night he breaks into her house, and, you know, there's a reason it's called a true crime story and not just a random story I kind of read one day. But she had all of the intuition. She did. She even bought a door blocker, like kind of a stick situation that you pin on your door so like even if they unlock it, they can't open the door. And what this guy had done is he tried to break in while she was sleeping, couldn't open the door, so he taped his phone to like a broom handle, and her blinds were a little bit cracked. He was able to take a recording to see what was blocking the door, went back to his apartment, googled how do you move or like how do you get past this door blocking thing, found the information unfortunately, and was able to do it that way. And it was just it's so weird and sad, but like she knew, her gut told her. And so many times when we're like getting into an Uber and our gut screaming, we get in anyways because it would be rude to say no. If you're in an elevator and somebody else gets on, you don't typically get off because that's rude. And I am trying so hard to never be polite in that way. Just not to be polite, because there have been times where I'm like, I don't feel okay about this, but it would be impolite to show it. So I think about it all the time. And you know what? I don't want to have something in my house that I look at and I think scary thoughts about what if somebody was in my home hurting me. I don't want that. That's terrible. So while in my 2026 new year, new me, new uterine lining, I want to minimize how much nonsense spending I'm doing. It's something I'm focusing on pretty hard. I might could nonsense spend on a different item to go there because why not? Really, I just kind of thought about that and came to that conclusion that I just have so much I don't sit in the chair anymore because it just doesn't feel right. I might get something similar, not green, and I might just get a different chair there and get rid of something that does not feel good in my heart. Maybe I'll do that. Um, well, not really looking good for my no nonsense spend, but that's not nonsense spending. It will be expensive though. I don't know. But so far this year, which I get it, it's very early in the year, but if you knew how often I ordered DoorDash, geez Louise, we've only ordered in one time. And that was when we weren't even going to. I bought groceries and my kids put the pork chops we were going to eat that night in the freezer relatively early in the day. But the frozen berries I had into the refrigerator. And so I had to throw away the berries because on the bag in very big print, it's like, don't refreeze if thawed. Oh, also new outfit, new me. We're on the January 9th now. Um, and so I had to throw those out and that made me pretty sad. But then we didn't have anything to eat in the house. I bought groceries specifically because we didn't have anything to eat, but not so much because I wanted to do a big grocery shop. And so Mark ordered in Little Caesars pizza, which isn't that good, but he likes it and that's fine. He's the patriarchy. He can have crappy pizza sometimes if he wants to, which is stupid. I could go for some crappy pizza right now. Not the point. Anyways, um, every other day I have cooked and I never cook. And I love this for me. So I have maintained not doing DoorDash. I think I'm not going to eliminate it completely. I don't think I'm going to be like no DoorDash ever. I do think DoorDash once a week because we don't go to restaurants. Restaurants don't work well for my family. Um, it's just unpleasant, but also DoorDash doesn't taste very good. So I think like once a month, twice a month, we'll order in pizza, maybe. Maybe it's because I want to eat pizza right now and I'm trying to talk myself out of this. Ironically, I do have pork chops that I'm supposed to make for dinner tonight, and this story involves pork chops, and that's funny. Because we have such a family with everybody's neurospicy except for me, I have nothing diagnosed. Oh, PTSD, but that doesn't count. That's inflicted. That's not internally manifested. So, thank you. I've never been diagnosed with any of those things. I am by far the superior human in my family. Everybody else are spicy dum-dums, right? But my kids have very limited foods that they eat, so the fact that pork chops are coming up often is not unusual. We eat a protein that's usually grilled and then raw vegetables and a fruit, and there are 2 starches, like white rice and plain noodles. Angel hair noodles are what my kids will really eat, which is why pork chops are back into rotation because I think we had chicken, like, 5 times in a row, and I would need to stop. Oh, also, pivot. I did a bulk meat purchase in Sam's Club, and I bought chicken thighs, which I don't typically like, but I made that one recipe, and I really enjoyed that chicken thigh, so I will try a couple more recipes. I bought chicken breasts, and then I divided those packages up and vacuum sealed it and put those in my freezer. But I also like the idea. Have you seen that Costco steak hack where they buy the big strip, like the huge loin? I don't know what it is. It's the chunk, the huge chunk of New York strip, like the whole muscle. And then they cut their own steaks from it. So I did that. I bought a big New York chunk and it was $111. And I cut all those into individual steaks. Then I vacuum sealed them in packs of 5 because there's 5 of us and put those in the freezer and it worked extremely well. So I went back to Sam's and I was like, I'm going to buy bulk meat and do this. But when I got there, there was absolutely no New York strip, not the giant log, not even sliced cut steaks. There were none of them. But there was like 17 freezers worth of ribeye. And I was like, okay, well, my favorite cut is ribeye and so is Calvin's. And so I will buy a ribeye log and cut those up. And then Calvin and I will have steaks for at least 6 months, right? So it was $250. And I really had a hard time with that. I was like, okay, I was kind of in that where I had decided that this is what I needed to purchase before getting to Sam's. I was like, I need a log of meat to cut steaks. Like, this is my goal. And then I was like hindered with that goal because they didn't have any of the logs I wanted. So I was like, okay, had a hard time with that price point, but went with it anyways. And I thought, okay, this will be fine. It's still cheaper than buying ribeyes. We can do it. And I take it home and I start trying to cut the steaks. And the I sharpened my knife and everything, and I tried to get it to be cold. Like, I didn't put it in the freezer because I didn't have space, but it was just so hard to actually cut. Like, it was just so loose. The meat fibers, what a gross thing to say, but it just was loose and like sloppy and fell apart. And it was so hard to cut the steaks. I think I managed to cut 6 steaks off of it before getting frustrated because it would move. And so one end of my steak would be half an inch thick, but the other end would be 1.5 inch thick. And it sucked and I was frustrated. So I chunked up the other like 3/4 of it into 4 smaller roasts. And I vacuum sealed those and I put those in my freezer, and I told myself that I could either make it into that's basically what a not a pot roast, come on. The rib roast. Like the what the heck is that called? We ate it at Christmas and I love it. But like the fancy roast, a fancy roast, if you will, for fancy occasions. I could have those and use those as more of a roast, I think, or thaw them out somewhat and slice them into steaks and then finish thawing that way. That was my plan, but I will not do it again. I would not do it again. It was frustrating. It felt like a big expense that I was ruining. Um, would do it again for the New York strip, but man, I was so frustrated. And we'll see how it goes, but I do have, I think, 3 roasts. Maybe we'll eat one on my birthday, even though I prefer to have crab legs and eat it wearing pajamas in my kitchen. Yeah, I'm not gonna break that tradition. That's my favorite. Crab legs standing in my kitchen in pajamas I've worn that whole day. They're pretty disgusting. And then grocery store tiramisu. 10 out of 10. But maybe like for Easter, we'll have an Easter roast and things like that. I don't know. But I just wanted to forewarn you that that was a really tricky thing, and I don't know that I would do it again. I do know that at Sam's Club, if you go in the morning before they clean off their meat choppers, you can request because like the big log of the New York strip was 111. You can ask them to have it if you want to try with a little bit less risk, and they will cut it in half, and then you could take that chunk home and cut your steaks from it. And I still think it's about the same bulk price per pound, where the markup comes when they actually cut the steak themselves. So that is part of my plan and kind of what I'm going to do moving forward. I did take out some of the New York loin thingy strip steaks, and Calvin and I pan fried them together, and it was real they turned out well, but it was really fun. Like, we worked on our searing skills. We talked about smoke points of different oils. We talked about meat temperatures and like how you can kind of squish the steak to feel what kind of doneness it is. And it was really fun. And he did a good job basting the butter over the steak. It was really fun. I'm glad we did it together. So, okay, let's talk about the content we're actually looking at, you guys. So, I really wanted to go out to the store and buy some more tubs for my Christmas decor. But again, we are trying to be frugal, Beth, and that's very hard for me. And so I have these what are those? The vacuum sealing bags, but for items? I have so many of those. And I was like, what if I put my ornaments in those and sealed them? I don't expect them to stay sealed. I bet the air is going to go in, they'll expand before Christmas happens again next year, but it'll be easier to keep them contained up in the attic. And then I can make more space in the big bin and actually empty out the smaller bin and have like actual places for my other ornaments to go. Not ornaments, but my other decor to go. And I'm using stuff I already have in my home. I didn't go to the store because it's not just the tub. We rarely get to the store and just buy the tub. It's the tub plus a cute blanket that I found, plus like 11,000 other things. So the more I keep myself contained in my house during things like this, the less money I spend, the better my life gets. So that is what I did. And I'm like weirdly proud of the fact that I sourced other containers instead of actually just buying some. I'm really proud of that. Like that's an impulse that I didn't listen to. I did take both of Leroy's Lammies and put them in the bin, and he will be delighted when he sees them again next year. But I don't need Christmas themed Lammies in my house right now. I just don't. It's weird. We have so many Lammies. He is a little bit stressed about them being in there. I kept trying to distract him with other lambs though. One thing I like to do is with these coffee mugs, I have Christmas themed hand towels. So I wrap my Christmas themed coffee mugs in them just so that they don't like break. It's not like I move this tub around very much at all throughout the year. I just want them to be slightly protected for the journey upstairs, which oh my god, that was so hard. It was so heavy. I didn't have anyone to help me, so like I really had to struggle bus it up the stairs and into the attic, and I get so red and sweaty. You might glimpse it later when I actually get it up there, but it's pretty phenomenal. Okay. Also, remember when I cleaned out my pillow closet of doom and I had all of those birthday wrapping papers and I thought that I should go buy another wrapping paper storage container? But what if I just put it in the Christmas stuff? Like they all fit, and it's not like I'm wrapping birthday presents so frequently that I can't just go to the attic, grab the one I want, use it, and put it away. I mean, that doesn't seem unreasonable. So I just shoved them in with my Christmas stuff and called it a day. And that's another thing. Look at me not saving stuff. I should text Mark about how much money I'm saving. Be like, babe, I save you so much money, even though I nagged you into that disadvantageous RV loan. And he'll be like, thanks for doing your part, babe. And then I'll say, do you want to order pizza tonight? Because I feel like it would be delicious. And he'll be like, yes. And because I look at how much money I saved him. It's at least $15 of savings. So he should order me DoorDash, dang it. I also deleted DoorDash off my phone, but I am not above nagging my husband into using his. I canceled my Dash Pass. I might cancel my Instacart because I was going to not Instacart my groceries, but also twice in a row I became so busy. It was like YouTube busy. I was trying to edit and I needed to get food. And so I ordered it. And so I Instacarted twice. The other Instacart was on this day that you're looking at. Oh, Instacart, Beth, because I needed groceries, but I also needed to clean my house for like 6 straight hours. So I justified it that way in my brain, and that's fine. I would rather spend $100 on groceries to be delivered that I can use for multiple meals than $100 of DoorDash of food that we don't really like. And the girls are just going to order chicken strips anyways, which we have in our house. And that drives me crazy. Usually when they're like, oh, I just want chicken strips, I'll be like, those are in the freezer. We can make them right now. And then there's a part where I feel bad because I'm like, we always get a food for Calvin because he eats so much more stuff. And we're constantly like, we're going to order in, but you peasants have to make your frozen chicken strips here. But honestly, it's like $20 for restaurant chicken strips and $20 for a bag of frozen strips from Sam's Club. Oh, it's so funny. Also, if we're talking about where I get really weird about finances, is I get weird about how much toilet paper we use, not for the traditional sense, but it's me. I won't blow my nose on toilet paper for the most part. I will use paper towels because even though it's like significantly rougher, and I don't buy Kleenex because that's fancy. Like you don't shut up. Just don't need Kleenex to blow your nose. Calm down. Get something different. But for some reason, toilet paper is too precious. So I use paper towels, which I'm sure is actually more expensive and rougher and worse. But, like, that's just where I land on it, where I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. We can't waste the toilet paper. That is for our precious bums." Not mine, personally. Never that's not something I've experienced. Um, I imagine, though, if someone were to ever poop, toilet paper, right? Also, we have a bidet, and it's phenomenal. I made Mark install it. We didn't get on the bidet train that everybody did during, the pandemic when we were out of toilet paper, but that's probably what it is. It's a pandemic trauma response where toilet paper is now the precious. Yeah, that's what it is. But anyways, we didn't get the bidet when everybody else did. We waited until it was well past the fad and then we bought one because that's just what I like to do. Like I like to wait until things are not cool and then jump on board. Like I was talking to my old best friend from high school about this exact thing. And I was like, you know what I could probably get on board with? Survivor. And she's like, you never watched Survivor? I'm like, nope, never watched it. Was not part of that cultural movement. But I could be part of it now. I started watching The Walking Dead, and I think it's like 15 years old and on its final season of the final spinoff. Like, does anybody want to talk about that with me? Because I didn't talk about it when it was popular. And I hate that. But I'm just weird like that. I did experience Tiger King with everyone else. And that was incredible. That was so incredible. Like the twists and turns of Tiger King, it was insane to be a documentary, like an unscripted documentary. All of the things that happened, like if you think back to all the things that happened in that, lightning in a bottle. That was we are all stuck at home watching Tiger King. I should watch it again and see if the magic's the same or if it was like the startling horror of every moment that really got you. Like if it's a one time, you only get to experience it once thing. Oh, it was so good. And it made me really not want to ever go to a tiger sanctuary, even if like because it's not a sanctuary, they're breeding them and then being like, "Look at us saving these." And it's like, "Okay, well, you're saving them because you made them." Like, it's not really saving them, is it? If you're churning out your own supply. I would like to have a elephant sanctuary, but I would have to move because I don't know if you guys know this. Geography is hard. A lot of people don't know a lot of things, especially if you're not from America, but Georgia, really thin on the elephants. I haven't even seen one. I haven't gone outside a lot so far this year, but even then, even last year, I didn't see very many. And so that's kind of a bummer. So I would have to move. I'm not going to have a gator sanctuary because they're gross and they survived like the death of the dinosaurs. So I don't think they need any sort of sanctuary. They're going to outsurvive humans. So screw them, right? Um, Okay, what else? A fox sanctuary is genuinely what I want, and I want to have one for Sammy, but I'm not actually gonna learn anything about foxes, so I need to hire somebody who's good with foxes. And then I think Sammy will like just be a fox at that point, and I think that would be really fun. Yeah, that's more likely than an elephant sanctuary, to be honest. So I want a fox one. And then I guess, I don't know, do you think that you can like swap for kinds with other sanctuaries where you're like, hey, I want a vacation for my foxes. Can I go to your like otter sanctuary and I'll play with your otters? You can go to my fox sanctuary and play with my foxes and like just like a little one for one swap. Is that a perk? Are there perks? 100%. I also want an otter one. Okay, so I don't want to swap for it. I will have side by side. One is otters, one is foxes. And that is a very reasonable goal, I think. I don't think that's unhinged at all. Yes, I will do that. Okay, I feel like I'm getting closer. Oh, so back earlier when I was talking, do you guys remember that? I was talking about how I had a low end goal and a high end goal. And my low end goal for that first day was to get all the stuff on my ceiling, but all of my rugs up. And as I'm taking down the final stuff off the ceiling of my island, I'm also trying to get dinner together for everyone and like time is running out. And I'm looking over and I'm like, I could with what happened on in my living room, shove everything to the side and make it somehow so much worse and yank this rug up for the sake of saying that I finished my goal of having all rugs up, but make it so much worse for me the next day. Or I can accept the fact that my end goal wasn't actually that functional and I can leave the large rug down and I will just get it another day, which is what I ended up doing because it just didn't make sense to shoot myself in the foot for an arbitrary goal that I had just made up myself. So that's what I'm doing. We're finally getting this rug up. Now, I don't have Mark, and so I'm doing this in a very weird way. I have often changed out my rugs in my living room without the patriarchy, but it's freaking miserable. I hate it. I have to move the whole couch. I never know where it's supposed to go back. It falls into 3 separate pieces, and I've scratched my floor more than once, and I don't feel like scratching my floor. So and I don't get the patriarchy back for a few days. And I certainly don't want him to come back from his trip and us to have Christmas rugs out. Like that just felt weird. So I decide that I'm going to try to do it without actually moving the couch. And it's almost successful. I'm pretty excited about that. So if I leave this black rug down here, it's a rug gripper that came with a ruggable. If I leave that down there, we know where the rug is supposed to go, right? Which is a huge problem when I move the rug and the couch because I've said it before, but just in case you're new, hi, welcome. It's fine. You're fine. We're all fine. Um, Weirdly, my kitchen back there, if you look at the kitchen, if you look at the center of my living room, the wall behind me, those two I was going to say the F word. Those two bad mama jammas do not line up. They're offset from each other. How the hell that happens? I don't know. Like how some architect drew up my house plans, not for me. I purchased this house pre-built and was like, fuck it. This is fine. Like it doesn't have to line up. Like who's going to notice when they stand in their kitchen in the center of their kitchen islands and it is off center from where the TV is hung? But the TV's centered on the wall, like nobody will notice that. That's not something that comes up. So I have to figure out how to center where to center the couch. Do I center it on the island or do I center it on the TV? And it's my life's biggest struggle. I have a very hard life, guys. Look at my hard life. And my life's biggest struggle is this stupid effing couch lineup. So if I leave this little black scratchy thing I have a general idea of where it's supposed to go. And I do love that for me. And so it works out. Small pivot. Okay, Leroy Stress. I gave Leroy and Kesha both treats. It's a small fake rawhide bone wrapped in like chicken, like fake chicken. Everything's fake. It's all processed. And Kesha will sit there and hold her bone and lick the chicken part off because she doesn't have teeth. And Leroy inhales his treat and it takes him 12 seconds. And then he spends the rest of his time worrying about Kesha's treat and how he's going to get it. So that's what he's doing. He's like, okay, how do I get the treats? And so he's watching me pretty intently and he's waiting for his opportunity. Now, I am not having a hot flash because I am a young spring chicken who has no problem with her hormones and I do wonderful things. And I have to prop open my door for unrelated reasons, but that's important. This is a ruggable rug. I do not recommend. If you guys want me to influence you in anything, it's to not get a ruggable rug. They're annoying and expensive and not good quality. But I got this as part of a promotion, so I own it. Okay, not buy ruggable. It was like, can we show how ruggable is not that great of a rug? And it worked out. So I am laying it down. It doesn't really have to be centered on anything because the couch is going to cover it up and I'm just going to cramp it under. And if I do a bad job, the patriarchy shows up tomorrow and I can get him to help me with it tomorrow, right? All right, so we get it mostly in here. Oh, crap. I'm pitching the part of the story too soon because actually what happens is I cannot get it into this tiny corner. And it's like really bunched up and it's not working for me at all. So what we have to do is get the tiny patriarchy involved. So I give up and we are going to summon the tiny patriarchy to see if we can get help. He has helped me with rugs before where I lift. And so he's used to the pattern of me being like, if I lift this, I need you to fix the rug underneath. He's just very well versed in this. And so we're coming up with a game plan. But this is where all three pieces like have a juncture. And so there are three footstools, like little footies right there that he is trying to work with. And it just absolutely sucks. And we get it kind of good enough, but it's still not flawless. And then I forgot to tell my husband that I need it fixed. And so it's still mostly okay. You can't really see, but it's still really bunched up right there. But I don't care, guys. It's too annoying and I forget it exists and you should too. And I think it works out for the best. That is my little portable desk that I hardly ever use, but I used to. I used to sit on my couch in my nest with that little collapsible desk and edit my videos for you guys. And I loved it. Maybe I'll do it again next time. Because let me tell you, the inside of my bedroom, this is an absolute nightmare and will be my next big clean with me because it's insane how bad it is. My bed, bath, and laundry, the BBL, it's bad. Okay, so we move the ottoman back. And I realized I want to flush the couches, and then I realized that two sections had separated. And so I need to move the cushions to reattach the two. And Leroy's very excited about this. So I move Kesha off, and now he's like, it's unguarded. This is very exciting. Unguarded bone, we cannot wait. And I reattach the two things. He's stretching. He's getting ready for his moment to shine. All he needs is for me to leave and not pay attention to him for his opportunity to strike. And I do just that. And he goes for it. Look, he is searching for it. He thinks he knows where it is, but I actually set it on the back table. He finds it and he makes a dead sprint outside where I never go and look. And he definitely eats it. And look, Kesha's just like, well, sucks to be me. Usually, she didn't see him do it. Usually, she'll go try to like fight him for it. Like she just tries to get it, but he is very fussy and will not give it up. Okay. Now we are going to put up what I call, well, actually, now we have to sweep all this disgusting off because it keeps getting on the bottom of my feet. I'm getting really grossed out. So we have to sweep this up. And then I give up on sweeping and I have to move to the vacuum because look at all these little dusties, these little tumbleweeds of hair billow everywhere. It's so hard to trap it into a dirt pile and I got mad. And you'll see that I give up and I go get the vacuum. I forgot what a vacuum was called. Okay. We need to set up the new decor. And what I tend to do, because we saw how much stuff I had for Christmas. That's a lot. But I start out the new year with a much more minimalist. Shut up, you guys. I'm basically a minimalist. Minimalist influencer. Follow me for how you can have not so much crap. Decor situation. And then as I go through the year, I build it out more. And then I really ramp it up for Halloween. But here I don't put that much out. I don't know. I feel like everybody feels this way, but it just feels more of a fresh start, a clean slate, because you take all the crazy of Christmas away. You take all of that off and you like crave a clean palette. It's very much that new year energy where you just want a fresh start, and a fresh start feels better with less. And that is the only time in the year I ever feel that way because I love having more. I love my things. I absolutely cannot wait until I am told that this wreath is slightly off center and I need to move it, and that's fine. I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so look, I have a couple things on each shelf, and that's all I really need. And it makes me happy. So, that globe doesn't stay there. See? Okay, I moved the globe. Yay! And now all of the Christmas is gone. So now when we turn around again, it's not like, oh no, Christmas again. And I'm really excited about that. Initially, I wanted to get all new rugs because my assistant, Mary, she is the very best assistant. And for 2026, Congratulations, sweetheart. I am actually going to double your pay this year. You get twice as much as you get last year, and you got many raises last year. So you are rolling in the dough. I just know it. So she had a recommendation. She had 2 recommendations, and I took both of them, and that was insane. Where she's like, "Ooh, spring themed rugs would be great," because we all really enjoyed the Christmas thing. Oh, it's been an hour and 15 minutes, so I'm losing my ability to speak. The Christmas themed rugs really were what pushed everything up, I think. It just changed all of the vibe, and I was so happy with them. And so then we were like, what if a fully spring themed rug situation? And I got really excited for that. But then I went on my Frugal Beth journey. And Mary also suggested the idea that you actually, instead of purchasing it, you write down what you would have spent. And that way, like at the end of the month or reflecting back, you can look and think, in all honesty, all the rugs for the whole house is, if I'm lucky, it's about $500. And so I can say, instead of the spring rugs, I will just use the rugs I have. They're fine, they serve their purposes. I have another rug that's a little bit more springy, but it's in my garage and I can't decide if I brought it back from the cleaners, but it unfolded, or if I threw it in my garage because it needs to go to the cleaners. And the garage will be addressed soon because it's almost time for my annual let's clean my garage because it's an actual effing nightmare. Um, and so when they get washed, I'll replace wherever that one goes. I have enough rugs. I do. They're not all my absolute favorite. I'm not dazzled by all of them, but I do have enough. And I don't need new rugs this year. And so I can kind of write down that I did stop myself from spending $500. And I think I'm going to try to do that. Like, I do think at the end of this month, I'm going to tally up how much DoorDash we purchased. And then I'm going to look back at last year's January's DoorDash and I'm going to look at that improvement. I think comparing my progress to what I did previously, I think that's going to be really motivating for me. I think I'm going to feel really excited when I see those differences. And it is going to be a little bit hard because there is part of me that's going to be like, oh, well, I don't have an RV loan anymore. So I don't really need to worry about my finances. And that's just not the way I want to think about it. I want to be a really good steward of our money. I do want to express that we are doing so fine. You guys, this is not a form of dry bag. It's a form of saying, even if you do very well for yourselves, you still have to manage your money. You still have to be responsible. There's not really a point that comes where you're just like, YOLO. People do it, and that's how they end up in really bad positions. And I have such a specific goal. My husband's eligible to retire in 6 years, and I want to have the mortgage paid off in 6 years. I want my husband to be able to make the choice to fully retire and not have to be like, okay, I'll retire from this position and go right back to work for this, because I also want him to drive around in the RV with me. I want to make him let's family vlog. Let's make my husband retire. And then now all of a sudden we're a family vlog and it's just me torturing him until we inevitably get a divorce. Our divorce announcement video will get me 7 million views, probably. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, I hit that. And then when he and I start blind dating on reality TV, that video is going to get so many millions of views. And then he and I will get married again. And then we will have the argument that we have. He and I have had it before. And I think I told you guys, and you have to vote. You have to. If we divorce, when we divorce, sorry, let's manifest. When we divorce and then remarry, I say the anniversaries start over. We will be married for a year, and that's our 1 year anniversary. Mark says, because he's an idiot, he says that it adds on. So if we can get divorced, let's hypothetically, we get divorced in 4 years, that'll be our 20th wedding anniversary. And then we remarry later, that next year, he thinks that'll be our 21st wedding anniversary. That's not right. It should be our first, and I demand a diamond tiara. because that's the traditional 1-year anniversary diamond tiaras, right? Probably. Here's the thing is when we remarry, I am going to go buy those anniversary, like for year 1 is paper. Maybe he'll give me a stack of cash. That would be nice. Um, I wish we had done that because as our anniversaries come, I'm like, can I just get you a card and a high five? We suck so bad at gift giving. I absolutely hate it. And I love having anniversaries. I love being married to him for now, but I just don't have a way of celebrating it. Like I just beyond being like, I'm your gift. You're welcome for 16 years, asshole. Like, but beyond that, I don't know what to get him. Like a gift card and Applebee's. Oh my God, shut up, you guys. I can't talk loud because I know he's in the kitchen, probably making dinner and not ordering me pizza. Swear, hand to my heart, we both hate Applebee's. I'm getting him an Applebee's gift card. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. A $50 Applebee's gift card for our 17th wedding anniversary. And if he takes me, I will assume he would like to fight that day. And I will pick a fight about why is he bringing me to Applebee's. I'm very excited. It's going to be so good. Yes, that is what we're going to do. But yeah, I do have the goal. I do want to have our house paid off so he can retire for the divorce, right? This should be good. I make the best plans. I'm the best wife. He's so lucky. Lucky. Blessed. So, all of that to say, we are basically done. I am so excited. I gave up on mopping. That wasn't going to happen. I am absolutely frustrated at the end of this whole house clean, mostly at myself for not being able to do it for so long. I really did think, no, I really did hope that I was past the being sucked into my nest and not being able to be productive, even though my brain was screaming at me. I really had hoped I would be past that. And it's humbling when I'm not. And I try very hard to not beat myself up, but then I beat myself up so much. But it's done. I feel like I will feel better after my room is done because it's giving me weird dreams. I've been having so many weird dreams. Also, welcome to the part of the voiceover where I describe my dreams to you guys. I've been having such weird stress dreams that, for example, last night I was kind of in a Starbucks, but it was also more like a community hall where all of the moms go after school drop off to like bake snacks. But it was also owned by uh, Catherine, Princess of Wales. And I had left cookies in the oven on warm for a month, and I was worried about her paying her gas bill because that seemed really expensive. And then I couldn't stop peeing on the floor. Not like I would drop trow and pee, but like I would just kind of start peeing and then try to like smear it up with my feet so nobody noticed. That was my dream. What the heck? What is that about? And then bank robbers came in and started like holding a heist. And so I am trying to discreetly clean up my urine whilst trying not to get harmed in a heist. And I just feel like maybe that's a stress dream. Maybe I need to address things. And here's the weird thing. When I woke up, I didn't have to go to the bathroom that badly. You would think that it's like, oh, Beth, you just had to pee real bad and your body was trying to wake you up. Thank God I didn't wet the bed. That would have been interesting. That would have been weird. But like, I even woke up and I was like, you would think that you would have to sprint and you're like, oh my God, nope. Leroy did. He was delighted I was awake. He's like, it is 6:30 and I need to go outside. So I feel like if I clean my room, maybe I will be a little bit better at this. But maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I wet the bed. I'll let you know either way because I really suck at not oversharing. I really like that about me. It's one of my better features. Okay, let's lay down these floor mats because we're not mopping. F that. And oh gosh, okay, so I did have a tiny bit of nonsense spending. I'm trying to keep myself to $50. One thing I did buy was a soy sauce dispenser, and it finally showed up, and it was in just the most protective shipping stuff ever. But I'm going to wash it and I'll let you guys know how it works. And that was basically the end of that. Final results. My house doesn't have Christmas in it, and that was my biggest goal. I feel so much better, so much more relaxed. My living room was non-functional for 8 solid days. I absolutely hated that. And it's just so much more peaceful. I'm so happy that I did it. I didn't do my BBL, Bed Bath Laundry. Those things are nightmares, but we will get around to it this week because I need content. And that is one of the things. We also need to set up my espresso machine. Very excited about that. I absolutely cannot wait. But that is all we're going to get done today. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.